Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. Happy Monday to you all. I hope you've had an absolutely extraordinary week last week, and this week will be even better than the one before. Today in the Zoom booth, which, by the way, as a reminder, because it's the Zoom booth, sometimes we have fun technical difficulties, including dogs barking, including phones ringing, including bells belling, and jings jinging and whatever it happens to be. So don't even worry about it. It's part of the joy of working from home and working via Zoom. But in the Zoom booth with me today is someone very special. From Polaris Solutions, Joanne Freelund joins us today. Joanne is going to chat with us about money and insurance and all kinds of really groovy stuff. So stay tuned and let's talk more. Hey, Joanne, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Kathy. How are you?
I am lovely. How are you managing with all this COVID stuff and our
Yeah,
lockups and lockdowns and holy
yeah. It's been
moly?
it's been a bit challenging, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're here for our customers, and I'll be moving home to work on Friday. But yeah, it's good. I can work anywhere, which is the beauty of my job.
Well, speaking of the beauty of your job, why don't we tell our listeners exactly what it is that you do?
Well, I am an independent insurance broker, and I help people protect their assets through business insurance and home insurance, whether it's their condo or their boat, RV, or any type of business or organization, societies, you name it. I do it. Everything but auto and life insurance.
So, right now, we know insurance is always important, particularly business insurance for sure. But recently, there have been some significant changes in the way that service delivery has happened for those people that are looking for insurance for their business, as well as premiums are changing. Can you break that down a little bit and explain to our listeners what's going on in the insurance industry?
Well, presently, or for the past year, we have entered what's called a hard market. And a hard market is one where losses have accumulated and interest rates globally have not increased. So the rate of return insurance companies are making aren't paying for those claims. Um, the losses in particular are so great. They've never been seen of this magnitude in the past. If we think back over the last few years, what we've experienced, we've had the fires in Alberta and BC. We've had the California wildfires continuously, half of Australia. Uh, there's been massive flooding in the United States, hurricane damage. Most recently, the hailstorm in Alberta. That was estimated at $1.2 billion loss
Holy moly.
in a matter of 3 hours. It's the largest single catastrophic loss in Canadian history. The
Wow.
insurance companies are running out of money. They have to buy insurance themselves to make sure that they can meet their obligations for the clients that they've insured. Those costs for the insurance companies have also increased twofold. So we have enjoyed relatively low competitive rates for the last 10 to 15 years, and they haven't been adjusted upwards, and they are now. Unfortunately, it's a big hit.
So, you know what? I'm going to break that down even simpler because I don't really know if our listeners are aware. I know I'm not really clear of what an adjusted rate means.
It
What
simply
is
means that the insurance companies are increasing their prices. The reports coming out on all the magazines and reports that I read indicate that insurance companies are paying out $102 for every $100 they collect. And
oh, really?
yes, so that has to be reversed. And the only way they can do that is by increasing their pricing. As a broker, it's up to me to guide my clients with loss prevention tips. Things like braided hose kits. Building new homes should have backwater valves. Um, uh, Commercial retail outlets should have clear premises that are free of clutter to avoid clients slipping or falling. Um, Again, a proper COVID protocols are followed. Um, Serving it right, making sure those type of certifications are up to date, regular staff meetings to discuss loss prevention, and making sure that the companies are running effectively and safely. So,
So I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't know whether or not I know for myself, I don't think about serving it right, for example, as being something that's mandatory or important for, um, as being conditional upon insurance in any way. WCB they have their own insurance protocols or safety protocols, and so certainly for that, I would see the relevancy. But for business insurance, I'm confused. Can you help me understand a bit better?
well, serving it right is for any business that serves liquor. So, with many people suing various different establishments for over serving, having that serving your right course educates the server on the proper amounts, the signs to look for when somebody's inebriated, the course of action to follow if they are, how to report it, how to handle that particular patron. Um, the establishment will most likely be sued regardless, but it's the defense on how they acted and were they actually negligent in their actions when they were serving that person that caused the incident, right? So I go to a bar and I with my girlfriends and I get absolutely schnockered and I've been served 15 different shooters. Well, that's not a good thing if I get in my car and drive away and kill somebody. Their state sues me and the bar, so the bar will be scrutinized and on their actions and what did they serve me and what did they do to prevent me from getting in that car or so
So the liability comes back in again based on the business owner.
and that's
So
another industry that's really been hit right now with huge increases is the hospitality industry. Any liquor, hotels, bars, restaurants, they are experiencing massive premium increases because of increased liquor liability claims.
really,
Yeah.
that's that's wild. I mean, I think it makes me crazy to think. I mean, I don't think that Canada is known particularly as being a country that just sues. I know that there are reputations for other parts of the world where that's a different story, but here you don't really hear the reputation. You hear it, you get into a car accident. So yes, you hear about people, especially ICBC has changed because of so many false claims and so much stuff that had happened with the insurance industry. And again, please don't quote me on that because frankly, that's rumor. There's no fact base on that. But those are the kinds of things you hear, right? But it didn't even dawn on me that restaurants are being sued regularly because of alcohol consumption. Choices made by individuals who go into their establishment, sit down, order a pint, and then go ahead and sue them. Like, I don't get it. I mean,
Well,
but
if they if they it may be that individual doesn't sue them, but that person who consumed the alcohol who goes out and then gets into an accident, that person who's injured is going to sue the bar and sue the person who consumed the alcohol.
of course,
So they then look at the bar and see who has the most insurance, deep pockets. And many times, if the driver is found 10% at fault and the bar 90% at fault, or vice versa, perhaps the bar was only 10% at fault and the driver's 90% at fault.
yeah.
Who has the most insurance is who's going to pay, unfortunately. And yes,
How do insurance companies figure out where the liability sits? I mean, obviously your role, Joanne, is to ensure that all businesses that come to you, you provide them the most adequate insurance for their needs, and even a little bit better insurance, perhaps even than they need, frankly. Uh,
yeah.
and then when something happens, I know that there's adjusters and adjudicators that sort of bounce this off back and forth, and the lawyers go back and forth. But at the end of the day, is there a model that people follow for all of that, or is it a free for all, or who decides which insurance company is responsible?
the courts ultimately do, or the negotiation process between the lawyers and the insurance adjuster. But we are becoming more litigious, Canadians. The legal fees are going up. That drives up costs in the insurance industry as well. But typically, when you have a loss, you report it to your insurance broker, the person who sold you the policy. We report it to the insurance company, and they decide if they're going to handle it directly in-house with their own in-house adjusters, or if they are going to hire an independent adjusting firm, and that's all that that firm does is assist with claims. They work for both the insurance company and for the client to ensure that both are receiving and paying everything each is entitled to. And as a broker, we are discouraged from getting involved in that process.
Yeah.
But when somebody tells me I can't do something, I usually just jump right in and say, yes, I can. And so I'm notorious for getting involved with my clients' claims, not so much in the settlement process, but to read what's going on. Send me the reports. Tell me what the status is. Is everybody getting along? Is there anything I can help to facilitate a speedier process by way of sending receipts in, scanning and emailing them, and then I check in with my clients every 30 to 60 days. How is it going? Are there any challenges I can help with? You know, um, a broker's job is to sell you the proper protection that you need
Yeah.
and analyze that, search the market, get you those pricings, and get you the best price and the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
The insurance adjusters are the ones that take care of all the claim process. And again, we are persuaded to back off when it comes to claims. And I do on the most part, but I think that's what you're paying for when you're buying insurance. It's a peace of mind that I'm going to be there. Your broker is going to be there for you when difficulties or challenges or misunderstandings occur. And they do, because not everybody gets along. We all have different personalities. And being in the business for so long, I know so many people and I know my clients so well. I've been so fortunate. And my clients, many of them have been with me for over 20 years. And so I can bring a different perspective to the insurance adjuster.
Yeah.
If there's a challenge, and I can advocate basically and say, hey, no, this is a good client. I've seen their kids grow up. This is what they used to do. This is his personality. This is
Yeah.
her ethics. So I can really, go to bat for my customer. And it's important to have that advocate on your behalf.
Absolutely.
Using an independent broker rather than the option of going to a direct company. I don't like to name who they are, but there's one company that direct is their name, part of their name. There's quite a few of them. There's a few of them now. It's becoming popular. But when you deal with a company like that, you take the independent broker out of the picture.
Yeah.
If you have a complaint, you have to complain to that company representative. They're not unbiased. You know what I mean?
I
We
totally
hope they
understand what
are.
you're saying. I
We
totally
hope they
understand
are,
what you're
but
saying. You're a
you know,
number though, in reference, right? Like you're not necessarily represented by someone who you've grown to understand and know over time. What
exactly.
I'm going to pull you back just for a sec, John, because you did bring up something that sort of inspired me. You said you've been doing this for over 20 years now. What brought you to the insurance industry in the first place?
I've been doing this for 40 years.
40 years. Oh my goodness.
I know, I look fabulous, right? I started when I was 8.
Sound fabulous for our radio listeners as well, darling. You sound fabulous.
I started straight out of high school. All my friends were, they were going on trips or traveling, or they were going to take the summer off. And
Gap
my
years.
my mom saw an ad in the paper for a personnel agency in Vancouver. And she said, you should go see them. They can find you a job. So I got dressed up. I hopped on the bus and downtown I went and had an appointment, and they got me a job as a file clerk for an insurance company. And within a few weeks, I liked it, but I realized I didn't want that job. I wanted her job, right?
I understand.
Yeah, and so within 6 months, I was transferred or promoted to an assistant underwriting position in the home insurance division. And then 6 months after the training, I became an underwriter, a junior underwriter. And then I worked at that company for 3 years before they closed their Vancouver office. And then I moved to Wawanesa Mutual Insurance Company as a personal insurance underwriter. And then from there, I worked there for several years, 7 or 8 years, and then I got an opportunity to work for a company that represented Lloyd's of London. And so
Wow.
I took that opportunity, and I worked as an underwriter, but with brokers, and I administered this particular company's Lloyd's of London program, all home insurance, tenants, condos, and it was really exciting because it was a very small company, and they didn't. I was their receptionist. I was the underwriter. I was the typist. I was the file clerk. I also handled claims up to $5,000. So I was
Wow.
their invoice adjuster for the small stuff. So it was really, and back then you typed everything on carbon copies with 5 copies on it.
Yes,
And if you made a
yes.
mistake, you had to take the whole thing out, start again. And so, and then after that, my husband's family bought a business here in Nanaimo, and I moved over here and joined Mike Hebert and Peter Guest at Evans Bastion Insurance. So I became a broker, and I worked for them for 6 or 7 years, and then a management position came up with Bakes Jarvie Insurance, Doug Jarvie. And as you know, Bakes Jarvie sold to Western Financial Group, and but yet another opportunity came, and I was with Bakes Jarvie for 15 years, and I had another management opportunity at another brokerage, and I worked there as a manager as well. So 20 years in management, and now I am back with my original island boss, Mike Hebert, who has started Polaris Solutions. And we've been around for 3 years, and we're doing good. We're growing hand over fist. We have nowhere else to go but up because we started with nothing. We have an office here in Nanaimo, and we have an office in Saanich, and we have an office of all places in Dawson Creek. And yeah,
Wow.
so we're doing very well.
Why Dawson Creek? Island to Dawson Creek?
Well,
I
one
don't
of our
get it.
partners, one of the partners, is from Dawson Creek, and so
Uh,
he relocated here, but they opened an office there as well. So we have two staff members there, one in Victoria, and myself and Mike and Jason here in Nanaimo. And yeah, we're right next door to the Remax office. A little plug for Remax, but
Perfect.
right on Dublin Way, and we are closing this office because of COVID, unfortunately. Have to move home.
Well, before we get into the COVID conversation, because I do want to go into that conversation, especially these days, we've got crisis after crisis after crisis, hurricane after hurricane. Stuff is going on in the world right now that's just crazy. And so we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, and by the way, if you just tuned in, you've tuned in to Act 3 Radio on CHLY 101.7 FM. I'm Kathy Holmes. I'm your host. I'm so happy to be with you. And in the Zoom booth is Joanne Freelund from Polaris Solutions. So we've talked a little bit, Joanne, about what you've been doing over the last 40 years, which is amazing. I'm curious about the transitions and the changes that have happened in insurance, particularly home and commercial insurance. Have you seen some big changes outside of the COVID, outside of all of this stuff that we've been working on now that we know already is just so weird? It just is beyond what we could imagine. But the insurance industry in itself, have there been a lot of changes?
It's such an old industry. The only thing I can see that has changed considerably is technology. As a
Oh, yes, of course.
As a broker, I used to be able to open a book, and there were the rates, and you would check to make sure they fit within all the boxes, and then they qualified for that, and then you would rate it out by city. But now it's all everything is done online, and unfortunately, there's always problems that occur when you deal online. The quoting programs aren't perfect, so we may get a quote from this particular quoting program, but then when we send the policy into the insurance company and they enter it in their system, it has a different price. That can be a little bit frustrating. So I always let my clients know it is an approximate price. And again, because of this past year, so many have moved home, and internet connection is crazy. Sometimes it's there, and sometimes it's not. I think it has slowed down production,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
and then because of the hard market that we talked about in the beginning, with the pricing going up so high, many brokers are shopping their accounts. So what happens? What in the past, and a quote request I would send in to get a price would take 3 to 5 business days. But we didn't shop every single account. But now, because every policy is going up, brokers across BC or Canada are shopping every one of their clients' account, and underwriters are inundated with quote requests. They
Yes.
can't keep up. So where they used to get 100 quote requests a week, they're now getting 600 or 700 quote requests a week.
Wonderful.
And so it's taking between uh, 10 days and 30 days to get a reply. So my advice to customers is if you do want to shop with a different broker, please give us 30 days. Come early, call early. Um, if you are with your broker for many years and you're confident with their abilities and services that they're providing you, maybe give them a quick phone call and say, hey, can you shop my account this year? Or do you think it's necessary? Um, I think that that is being the biggest challenge right now for us and for clients is the patience waiting for the quotes to come in and for underwriters to get to them. The workload has increased substantially, and then of course the technology, and with the overload on the internet, everyone working from home, it's slowing things down even more. So it's been very challenging, and then of course nobody has any patience right now. We're all on a short fuse,
True.
myself included. you know People who know me know I can be a little bit short, and because I like to do things. I like to get things done. I want to, go, go, go. Let's work. Come on, let's get this stuff done. And
Fabulous A-type personality. Move
oh
things
my
forward.
God, the system right now is driving me beyond the limits, right? Everyone has a short fuse, and it's appreciating that and understanding it,
Yeah.
taking a deep breath, and remembering that we're all in the same boat.
Oh, and we're all in this together. You're so right, Joanne. And you're right. Everything slowing down makes it challenging. I think more than anything, though, I think that it's the concern over having the right coverage right now, with so much going on, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so feeling safe in our skin. We've seen so many businesses that have had to close down and are probably never going to recover. The statistics for some of these businesses that have shut down are beyond compare. We've got a lot of grieving going on in our community. Just driving downtown in our little downtown area, the last time I saw it boarded up like this is, back in the 70s when we had, bikers running the streets of Nanaimo, which we don't have anymore, right? But it just looks so different. Our community looks so different. And so, patience is definitely something that we need, but it can be in short supply. I'm curious, is everybody's insurance going to go up this year, do you think, as far as home insurance and commercial insurance is concerned?
Yes.
And is there an average amount that it's going to go up? $20 a policy, $100 a policy? I mean, obviously it is going to depend on the size of the building. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors, but is there like an overall percentage or dollar value per policy that you consistently see?
I am seeing an average of between 10 and 15% on commercial. That would be a retail store, bakery, shoe store, gift shop, um, and that is irrespective of your revenue. Normally, premiums, your liability premiums are based not only on what you do, what you sell,
Yeah.
but how much. So a company that grosses uh, $50,000 is going to pay a lot less than one that's grossing 5 million, simply because there's more chance of something going wrong or something occurring on the company that's selling more, right? They're not looking at that at this point anymore. They're looking at the limits of coverage that they're providing only, and they're adding 10 to 15% on the average retail type business. If you're looking at hotels, restaurants, and pubs, it might be a completely different story. I have one new client that came to me. They were paying $8,900 last year. It was a pub, and they were grossing about 3.5 million a year, just a regular pub. And the insurance company they were with declined to renew. They did not have the ability to renew to insure pubs anymore. And they came to me, and I wasn't able to get any coverage for their property, for their building, for their stock, equipment, and liability alone was $35,000.
Holy malunga. And so what
I went across Canada.
does that mean their business is just now officially closed?
No, no, they have enough revenues to sustain that premium and to pay that premium, and they are self-insuring the property, meaning they're not insuring the property. So their liability coverage is in place for 5 million, and they chose not to purchase coverage for their contents in their building. And
Was a fire or there was some other unfortunate incident, their building is not covered, their content is not covered. The only thing would be the patrons.
the liability, bodily injury, and property damage. Correct? Yeah. And there are other businesses in on the island and in British Columbia that have experienced the same thing. I know of one particular establishment that there were multiple different types of bars and restaurants in this hotel, and they had to close one of them because they could not. The underwriter couldn't not offer the coverage, and the broker could not find it anywhere in Canada. Too high risk, and perhaps that particular operation had some claims in the past. So it's really important that clients try their best not to put in claims. I know that sounds stupid. You're buying insurance, so you're protected in the event of a claim, and then you put in a claim, and then you can't get insurance, right?
Exactly. It's an oxymoron.
Horrible. But that's where your broker comes in and helps you with reducing your risks, identifying those exposures and those habits and those operations that increases the chance of something going wrong. We want to reduce that. We want you to be successful. We want you to be in operation. We want you to continue to buy insurance. It's in your best interest, and it's in our best interest. So your broker is your best defense when you need advice, not only on selecting the type of insurance you need, but to help you identify those risks and those exposures to reduce your chance of something happening. Going back to the pricing, those type of businesses, yes, you're going to have some challenges. You need to have, if you're in that type of business, you need to have a broker that is experienced and has a large selection of companies that they can go to. We have access to over 35 different markets, 15 Lloyd's providers, and then 20 plus domestic or specialty insurance companies, Canadian insurance companies, or international insurance companies. And we have the experience and my coworkers, my boss, for example, 43 years in the business as well. None of us are that work for Polaris have less than 20 years experience.
Yeah.
And sorry, we have one young one, a superstar coming up, but he's amazing. He's doing so good. So we have a wealth of knowledge. If I can't find something or I can't design something that works, I call a Mike and I say, okay, here's what we have. This is what I was thinking. Do you have some suggestions?
Yeah.
He is a gem. He has come up with some great solutions that even underwriters haven't thought of. And I still learn from him, and that's the beauty of working with true lifelong insurance people. We live and breathe it.
Yeah.
It's a real pain for my husband when we're at a party and and people start asking me questions, or if my boss is over with his wife and we just sit there and talk business, and my husband and my boss's wife just sit there and look at each other like, what are they talking about? Something else, right? So, um, premiums, yes, everyone's premiums going up. I'm so sorry. Let
Yeah.
me apologize, Ross, for that. But let your broker do some shopping for you. And if you don't feel that they are doing that or proactively in advance, if there's continue to simply send your renewal to you without, any explanation or phone call, then maybe you need to have a broker like me, right?
So I'm really glad you brought that up because, recently, for those who know me, know that I have a mother in love. I'm not married. I don't have a guy in my life. I have a mother in love, my chosen mom since my mom passed away. Okay. So, but the thing about it is that when she moved here from Courtney a few years ago, actually, I can't believe how long ago, it's almost 5 years now. And every year she gets a bill for her insurance. And frankly, it's gone up $100, $150 just about every single year. And the first 2 or 3 years, her broker never called her or to check in. They knew that she was moving down here. She dealt with somebody on the phone. She was really, really having a hard time hearing them because, in all fairness, she's 85 and fabulous. And with all of her capacities, bright as a whip, like smart, smart, smart chick. Um, but for whatever, she just can't hear as well on the phone, right? With a lot of people experience that. Anyway, so they were not really explaining it to her. Turns out that they were charging her for an outbuilding that was like 2,800 square feet that was in Courtney that she didn't have in Nanaimo. So that was just one piece, right? That was one example. And year after year, it's just dollar after dollar. So I worry for the older adults, particularly with their insurances. We get into the habit of just renewing because we know we've always been working with that same person for 25, or that same company perhaps for 25 years, not
Yep.
necessarily the same person. And so there may be all kinds of advancements or changes, right? And they
Well,
don't know.
I'll tell you one of the problems in our industry is that home insurance isn't always the most profitable for a brokerage. So you have to insure a lot of it. You have to do quite a bit of it. And 90% of clients or higher don't have any changes. So the industry has designed their processing or their process after those 90 to 95%. They simply renew it, send it, call us if you have any questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but I don't do it that way. And I know it drives my boss crazy, but my clients rarely leave me because I check every single year. I'm always behind because I take time. I have to go and do the home evaluation report every year. I
Yeah.
make sure the values are correct. I send it to my customer. I check and get alternate quotes. It really is a matter of just putting it in the computer and pressing the enter button and seeing who is out there. For me, my process, anyways. So for me to check 14 different insurance companies and send my customer, here's the top five, and here's what you currently have. I've done the review. I'm sorry I'm late, but it's because, I do these for everybody. And here's our options. What would you like to do? And yeah, it drives me crazy that I'm behind. I should be doing my renewals. They should be 30 days in advance. But I think my customers really appreciate that I am physically looking at their policy, looking at their house, looking at the details, making sure that the coverage is what they need, offering them some options and telling them, hey, this is new this year. This isn't available anymore. Is this something that you're interested in? And this is what it costs, right?
People forget that they buy toys every now and then too, right? Like, I mean, our worlds change where we are dynamic people, right? You know, your husband might buy you a brand new $30,000 diamond ring, maybe if you're very, very lucky. Wouldn't that be grand? Or,
Yeah,
or there may be another, acquisition to your home, a new,
yeah,
an addition to the deck, some other piece of something or other.
yeah,
And so it does need to be reevaluated, and putting it into the drawer and just letting it be status quo never
yeah.
serves anyone.
And that's a very, very important with regards to business insurance too, because
Of course.
as your business starts, you'll offer one type of service, and then throughout the year or throughout the years, you may expand and offer more services, different things. Your broker needs to know these things because what you tell your broker from the beginning is what we are insuring. We're not insuring any other services. So if you're doing painting, if you're painting exteriors, but then you decide, oh, I'm going to add pressure washing, we're not insuring a pressure washing company. We're insuring an exterior painter. So you need to phone your broker in advance and say, hey, I'm doing a business plan and thinking of adding this service. Or if you were doing owned a restaurant and now you're offering takeout or delivery service, you need to say, hey, I'm going to offer delivery service. Is there something I should know about auto insurance or my employees, their own cars, their driver's license? You know, uh, or I'm going to start shipping my product into Ontario, over to Ontario. Is there coverage I need to get my product covered while it's being shipped? Right. So you're hiring.
Don't always think about. Those are very, very important points. This is the time in the program when I start to tell people that they need to go grab a piece of paper and a pen, because very, very soon you're going to be giving Joanne your information on how people can
Okay.
reach you, how that you'll be able to engage with some, hopefully some brand new customers. Listen, if you have just turned in, you are listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM in beautiful Nanaimo. And we actually broadcast all the way down to Duncan, all the way up in Campbell River. So bye, hello, hello, hello. Joanne can reach you up there as well. Sunshine Coast is also a part of our catchment area. So if you're listening today, you're driving down the road and you're thinking to yourself, hey, just a doggone second here. When was the last time I checked my insurance out? A good time to check it out will be with Joanne for sure at Polaris Solutions. Joanne, we've been alluding to it. I've been sort of ditching that coverage and that conversation and sort of postponing it in our conversation because everybody's just getting so god doggone it tired of talking about COVID. Except that so many businesses are losing their primary income. They're losing so much around them. And insurance is going to be a part of it. Now, I have recently heard that some people that I know have acquired COVID insurance as part of it. Is that real? What's going
No,
on?
unfortunately, business closures and the loss of your business income is not covered under business insurance. Insurance is based on physical damage to your property, to your building, to your contents. So, physical damage means fire, lightning damage, smoke, water damage, impact by a car, theft damage. Um, those perils are usually outlined in your policy. Um, some policies, most are what are called all risk. So that means you're covered for everything, but they list
Yeah.
the exclusions. But there still has to be physical damage to the property that makes the premises uninhabitable or that you cannot operate because of that physical damage. Now, right now, there are many lawsuits out there, many law firms trying to challenge what physical damage means. And but insurance is a very old industry, 400 to 500 years old, and it has always followed a perils physical damage policy ideal. And so, unfortunately, if your business isn't damaged by fire or one of those insured perils, and you are losing business because of COVID, unfortunately, you are not covered. The other major concern is right now, insurance companies are specifically excluding it. So, if you remain open and you do not follow the provincial health COVID guidelines, your employees or your customers contract COVID at your premises, again, you are not covered if you are sued for that. So it's
Are a lot of home services being done, right? And specifically, I'm thinking about people that are looking after older adults in their home by providing certain things like, transportation to their doctor's appointments, or to, grocery shopping, or to have housekeeping services, foot nail, foot pedicures, things like that done for older adults. COVID being the way it is, people following their protocols, wearing PPE. Who's the police behind all of that to determine whether or not those protocols are being done, and how does that relate to insurance?
Well, the individual who's offering that service, it is their responsibility to know what is what it is that they have to comply with. Everybody has been directed over and over again to go to the provincial website, whether you go to VHA or another government website. It outlines very detailed what you're responsible for, what you are to do, what protocols to follow.
Yes.
And if you don't, then you are putting people at risk. For example, the recent outbreak that, well, we've heard of a couple outbreaks where people have gone to parties and have then come back into the community
Yep.
and brought it home and brought it, to schools, hospitals, other facilities. That is that person's negligence. They're not listening to the healthcare professionals and the scientists. They're not following the guidelines. And to me, that is so terribly irresponsible and dangerous of them to risk other people's lives and livelihoods.
I agree.
We've got a lot of businesses that are struggling. I have quite a few clients that are really working their butts off to stay open. And it's, you know, I'm lucky that I have this particular business, that I'm in this industry. But for those in the hospitality, restaurant, bars, my heart's breaking for them. I wish I could go there. I wish I could go and drink and eat. And I'm immune compromised. I can't do that. My husband is as well. We're staying home. We are ordering in when we can, and we're supporting my customers. I'm huge on supporting my customers. If I'm going to buy something, it's going to be from my client, right? I'm not going to go to somebody else's restaurant that I don't insure. I'm not going to go to the bar. Well, I'm not going to the bar.
Well, none of us are these days. Like, I agree with you. I think that we need to be supporting our community as best we can. And part of supporting our community as best we can is taking takeout, is having things delivered, is still, buying certificates and things like that for Christmas presents for our community. Restaurateurs, and even if they may not be able to serve us in-house, at least to be able to, have a meal delivered. But then again, it brings us to a whole new set of insurance, right? We've got the skip the dishes people, and we've got, all these different organizations, and not to use that particular company, because I don't even know if we have that here on the Vancouver Island, but
I don't think so.
But
Also social media is helping a lot of businesses too. Most recently, Super At Foods, we know.
I love Super At Foods.
Okay, so they've been having some challenges. That business has been around for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And their customers and their revenue and their has dropped, and they're in a really bad position. So somebody's got taken it up and put it on Facebook. You can join Super At Foods group on Facebook. They want to know what you bought, see pictures of the food you bought, how much you paid, what you've cooked from your Super At Foods, and then you post it. We want to bring more attention to that business and make sure they're successful. As a smaller community, we can do that. We can do that for every store that's suffering, every restaurant that's suffering. So Super At Foods, I've joined as a member of their group.
Join this afternoon.
Okay, there you go. So then you have to take a picture of it, join the Super At Food group on Facebook, and post what you've done and what you've made. And recipes are a great idea too. There's quite a few great cooking websites out there, right? Or Facebook sites, the social distancing cookbook, or then there's the official COVID cookbook website, but that's more of a Canadian site. But if we promoted local and we helped those businesses, and if businesses are having challenges, put it out there. Say we're having a challenge. We need you to come. People will come. Ask, and we will come. We can't assume that everyone's doing fine and they'll make it. They'll figure it out. You can't. Ask for help. The community, I think, loves to play hero and support one another. And they like that. They like that feeling that they get themselves, that they're giving back and they're helping that business stay alive.
That so much in March and April and May. And then it kind of after, I would say getting closer to the middle of July, end of July, early August, we kind of got on with our own stuff and we've sort of let that go. I am actually going to interrupt that whole part of that conversation because this Christmas is coming before we know it. I know that that's a dirty word. I know this. I'm sorry. It's just for those people who love Christmas in November, my apologies to your families. I mean, from way back. December 1, I'm okay, but anything in November. Sadly enough, I'm going to bring this to the attention because I think that so many people are being forgotten once again in our community, namely older adults.
Yeah.
So in support of older adults, I'm putting this initiative out there in partnership with Wisteria Community Association and any other, but in Nanaimo Voyager magazine, any other partner who wants to come in, doesn't cost anything. All I want people to do is put a silver bell in their window, a silver bell to represent all the seniors that are in isolation.
Yeah.
All you need to do is put a silver bell in your window during the Christmas holiday to say, I love seniors. I love older adults. An older adult lives here. I don't care how you do it. Doesn't matter to me. But a silver bell, just like Bing Crosby's silver bells.
Well, my husband's father is in his mid 80s, and he is in an intermediate care facility, and we can't go see him. He's in Sechelt, but it's awful. It's just awful. You love your parents, and you want to be there and to spend as much time as you can with, because that time is getting shorter and shorter.
Absolutely.
And I can't imagine the people that have family members in the hospital where they can't go see them while they're ill or as they're passing and not be there for them.
Absolutely.
And I think we do need to think more of that, and maybe collaboratively come up with some kind of idea that supports them. The silver bell idea is great. There's also somebody out there that was doing gift baskets
Oh, yes.
and
The
hampers,
ninjas.
hampers that you could put together, and you donate, and they'll put a hamper together and deliver it to that particular person. And perhaps you could put something up and let us know if you've heard who that is. Like I saw something the other day about it. About, geez, that's a great idea. Well, I don't need any more anything, right, for Christmas.
Exactly. Me either. It's actually done by Volunteer Nanaimo's. It's the Christmas Angels program. And
Okay.
Ina Marati is the person who's in charge of it. We're looking for Christmas Angels. She was on the broadcast recently and will be on the broadcast again in December to talk about it a little bit more. But you
Okay.
nominate, they are vetted seniors or vetted families. It don't have to be a senior, that's vetted families, usually through a nonprofit agency or any agency like yourself, Joanne. Polaris can certainly sponsor it by saying, we know someone in the community that could really use this, and it gets vetted through Volunteer Nanaimo, and they provide that hamper
Okay.
or gift for them. So there's lots of stuff, you're right, available in community. We're coming close to the end of our time today, unfortunately. Oh my God, it's gone so fast. We're going to start right off the top though, Joanne, by getting people your information, because I'm just saying people need to have you as their broker. They
Oh,
just do.
thank you.
So Joanne, how do people reach you?
My cell number is 250-739-9888. That's my direct cell. It's with me 24/7. My office number is 250-585-2778. And then Greg Peacock's beautiful, handsome voice will come on, and I think I'm extension 4.
I love it.
And of course, you can reach me by email, Joanne.Freelund. So it's JOANNE .Freelund, FREELUND, @PolarisSolutions.ca. And yeah, I'm one of those crazies that I will answer the phone up until 9 o'clock at night. Sorry, Doug, my husband.
Well, it's because you value your clients and it's important that they're able to reach you.
I'm also the 24-hour claims representative as well, for Lower British Columbia or from Prince George South. So
Hour
all of our
calls? Do you get
pardon?
do you get very many 24-hour calls?
No,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
no.
glad. That's good
Because
news.
most people know what to do after hours, but if they don't and they need to hear my voice and guide them through what to do, they
Yeah.
can phone me. If it's an emergency and you're not sure what to do, uh, call me. It has happened. I've had a family that had a total loss at 3 o'clock in the morning, fire loss.
Wow.
They were in complete
Devastating.
and utter shock. So, I helped them. I got them to the hotel and got them settled and got the insurance adjuster in touch with them the very next morning. And it's just the what 3 or 4 calls a year. It's invaluable for my clients to have me available for them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and so of course I'm going to be there 24/7. If it's not an emergency, call me back during normal business hours. And if you're a businessman or woman and you are busy working in your business, 9 to 5, 7 till 5, 7 till 8, whatever, you come home at 7 o'clock and you just remembered you forgot to get that insurance stuff done or didn't call, you can call me, right? Even if it's for a quote for your business insurance, people who operate businesses work hard, long, crazy hours.
Isn't that the
And
truth? It doesn't stop at 9 to 5 or 9 to 4:30 or yeah,
yeah,
no, so
so
true.
those clients can call me up till 9 o'clock at night. And within reason, if I'm doing something, I'll tell them I'm sorry I can't talk right now, but I'll call you back when tomorrow or in an hour or what have you. But yeah, I don't not answer the phone. I always answer the phone, right? If people want me, it's a good feeling that they're looking towards me for advice and guidance and help. That's a huge compliment, and I don't take that lightly.
I
So
know, I know. And your reputation in Nanaimo and on Vancouver Island is extraordinary for sure.
thank you
Joanne,
very much.
I really always want to share with our community the most important takeaway. Everybody knows who listens to the program. And thank you, by the way, everybody, for tuning in to Act 3. I'm so humbled by the listenership that we have. It's just extraordinary. And I'm curious, Joanne, like if you were to share, imbibe to our listeners, what would you really want people to know about this insurance business?
Well, don't take it for granted. Don't just pay it. Talk to your broker or talk to a new broker. If you're not getting the service and you're not getting the advice, come and talk to me. I sit down and I go over things with my clients. Pre-COVID, I'd come to your house. Pre-COVID, I'd have you come to the office. I'll go to your business. But give it the appropriate time. You're handing over your life's work
Yeah.
to somebody. You want to make sure that what you're buying, the fine print, you want to go over those things, the restrictions. Again, the print is the same size. You just have to understand or where to look and how to read it.
Yeah.
I do that. I sit with my customers and read the policies with them, show them where the restrictions are, what the limits are, the exclusions are. So take that time. Don't just send in a check. Go over your business, go over your home, go over the renovations, your new activities, your new purchases. Spend some time with your broker. And if you're not satisfied, call me.
Well, I hope that everybody gives you a call. Why don't we give people that telephone number one more time?
It's 250-739-9888.
And your email?
Joanne.Freelund @PolarisSolutions.ca.
Thanks so much for being a part of the program today, Joanne. We're really, really glad that you shared your insightful wisdom with everyone in our community. Thanks.
I'm honored that you had me. Thank you very much.
My pleasure indeed. Hey, everybody, that wraps up another episode of Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. And as we talked about a little bit, alluding to, I think the silver bell thing can really go off. So if you are listening, I really do recommend that you put a silver bell in your window this year to help support seniors in our community. Also, of course, Christmas Angels are looking for volunteers through Volunteer Nanaimo to help support initiatives that are right here, right now. So make sure that you're able, if you can, to volunteer in that capacity. And if there's anything that you need, well, you know what? We're here for you. Let us know. We're happy to help you out. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Act 3.